Rolling. Okay, good evening and welcome to the free Zoom meeting for scriptwriters and filmmakers. This is 7 p.m. Monday, May the 3rd, 2021. And my name is Christine Whitlock. I'm in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And we've got a number of great people here to meet tonight. So we're going to first go into introductions. If you want to tell us your name and where you're from and what you've been working on the last couple of weeks. And then we'll go into our topic tonight, which is writing emotions. And then we'll go into anything else that you're working on and things that have been happening. Okay, first up is Cherie.
Okay. Hi guys. So I'm Cherie. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. I write mostly comedy or horror. So I'm currently polishing up a 30-minute dark comedy TV pilot to send off to a production company in the UK. And so hopefully I'll do that sometime this month. And I've got a couple of horror features that I'm trying to get finished before the middle of the year. And I've also been working with Alex on an educational short and trying to get that up to scratch for everyone involved, so we can get on with filming. So yeah, I've got some feedback yesterday, so have to take that on board and see how that works. Yeah, that's it for me at the moment, I think.
Ray, you want to tell them your feedback, who it's from?
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure the human. Yeah, so David Frankel read my script yesterday. He's the director. He directed Devil Wears Prada, Marley and Me, Band of Brothers. Yeah, I was really nervous, and he wants me to lighten it up a bit more. So that's what I've got to work on. Yeah. So that was yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but yeah.
Good. Okay, Julian, you're up next.
Hey everybody. Yeah, I'm gonna put a link in here real quick, but I've arranged with Alex's help a table read for the first half of Death's Brother, my horror script, on May 15th. It's a group called the Carmen Group over in England, Birmingham, where Alex is from and where I have been before. I've been around Birmingham a little bit. But yeah, they're going to read that. It's going to be May 15th at 6 p.m. So I'm just digging up the link here. I'll have it in. And I negotiated for a part 2 at an unknown date. But so I will have the whole reading, and then I'll have YouTube links and stuff later to update my website, julianmartinwriter.com. Okay, so I'll have that on there as well. And I think that'd be really cool. People can go and listen to some professional actors read my stuff, and I'll be listening to make sure that the lines sound right and that if there's something I need to fix on my end. So I think it'll be good feedback to hear actors perform it. And if I don't like the way it sounds, I'll be like, well, maybe it's my fault. So there's something to that there. Other things going on, I'm excited to have, on Twitter, I just sent out a message and got a recommendation from another film director about a artist who could do my poster for my Marx Brothers type comedy Poppycock, and he's a really great artist, and he's really excited about the concept. He says he loves vaudeville and Cthulhu, so he's going to be working on that. So I'm really excited about having a sweet poster, which will really help on posting Script Revolution, becoming a featured script, and then hopefully I'll win some contests this, or at least get some finalists stuff this summer. I'm in a couple contests, and the subject of contests, I have a ISA membership, and I signed up for a whole year. And at first I was thinking, man, I don't know, is that a dumb move or what? But they offer you some free contest entries. So I got a free contest entry worth $59. So that made up $59 of the 100 I spent. So hopefully I'll get some perks back on there. And, you know, but yeah, so I'm just still pushing. I'm working on Poppycock, getting that my comedy and pushing my horror at the same time. And while I'm also querying all the time with that's my novel, Junie Q and the Secrecy of the Liar. So that's what I'm up to.
Great. Sila, tell us what you've been doing.
Yeah, I have been very busy. Okay, so my name is Sila and I'm from Denmark. So the past few weeks I have been dealing with school a lot and exams, but I began a new script for a Scottish English TV series. So I'm kind of waiting until it's possible to go to Scotland so I can visit where my script or my story is taking place.
And what genre is it?
It's a romance and action and drama, like it's history, something from the past.
Great. Okay, Pat Semler.
Oh, hi. I thought Lori was ahead of me. I've been working on my thriller, Gotcha. I got the third act set, so now I have to go back to Act 2 and ratchet up some action and tension there. I just found out that my horror, I'm in Kissimmee, Florida. I just found out that my horror script, Vermin, is a finalist in the Shriek Fest Film Festival's screenplay. I'm up against some heavy hitters, so I got my fingers crossed. I've been working with Christine, exchanging pages of the horror script, and I'm working with two of my writer friends from Screenwriting University on a script, which is a comedy, and it's something that's out of my wheelhouse, but we're trying. And I also have an update on a faith-based script that I wrote for a local producer. He got a grant money, so it looks like maybe sometime soon we'll be taking a few more steps in advance to get this thing actually on film. Just keep them busy.
Great. Lori.
Okay, so let's see. So I think everyone here knows Wyatt. He invited me to this online group, Facebook group called Zoom Reads. So I read his feature and then I gave feedback in that table read. That was about a week and a half ago, I think. And I have two writers group, one that meets only once a month, and then I have one that's every Wednesday. So that one, everybody submits 7 pages and then we critique them. So, and sometimes people send, so we're up to 21 pages and sometimes people change some of those 21 pages. So you have to read 21 pages from like 5 people. So that's cool. It's a lot of work. So, but it's good that I love that everybody that's in there and their feedback is amazing. I yesterday I worked on my screenplay and it's so much better. So working on that. And then today I'm going to finalize the third act and get that done. And so, and then my pilot scriptwriters meeting, we had a critique from a third group that I dropped, but critique group, and based on that I reorganized and then we changed the dialogue and added and then deleted scenes. So yeah, kind of really busy with just rewrites with that one. So yeah, that's as far as writing goes, that's what I've been doing.
And what's the genre of the feature?
Testing 1 2 test. Oh, fuck you.
Okay. The feature is drama and plus supernatural, and the pilot is drama plus comedy.
Okay, Nick.
Everybody, yeah, so I've been yeah, actually I had a flu last week, which really sucked. It wasn't COVID since I got the second shot, but yeah, so that, I didn't really do that much last week, but yeah, over the weekend and the week before I worked on just rewriting, just rewrites for the rom-com that I have, it's Muna, the cross-cultural one. I collaborated with, I sent the email out to Lori, and I'm going to do a critique group for my first few pages with Fatima and Lori. And yeah, and also I collaborated with Vivian Lee regarding outline development. She sent me her outline, I sent her mine. So yeah, so just to, yeah, and also been reading your notes about woman character development, and incorporating that in the script as well. So.
And you're from the San Francisco area.
Yeah.
Bay Area.
I'm San Francisco, yeah, San Francisco Bay Area. I heard they're making a Netflix in Canada, another HQ in, I forgot what city, maybe Toronto. Yeah, they're trying to expand their headquarters.
Good.
Yeah, so anybody in Canada, congratulations.
Doug, what have you been up to?
Well, same old, same old. I've got 3 scripts on the boards ready to shoot as soon as we can get a crew together, and a few. Alex, that his PSA film he sent me, it's scheduled for the Northwest Film Fest, if and when the Northwest Film Fest ever becomes reality. The city is still supporting it, but I'm not sure that we can get enough people together here, this year to do it. But we'll try. And that's really about all. Just messing around with my little cable network show and playing around in the studio and doing stuff like that. That's about it. Still looking for, scripts with heart.
You mean short films with heart?
Short films and short scripts with heart. I mean, they have to be ready to rock and roll.
Because the last meeting you said you weren't accepting any scripts. You were only.
I'm not accepting scripts unless I request them, unauthorized requests. And I can't do that. I've worked with a couple of people, that send me a script. I worked with that script on. A couple of weeks later, they send me a whole different script. They think I'm their new buddy or something. And no, I'm in a business. I'm on a business.
Okay, Alex. So you haven't been with us for about a month now.
As I put chocolate in my mouth, no problem. Good evening, everybody. And to Vivian and Cherie, good morning. Because of all the work Cherie and I do, I now know the time difference is 14 hours ahead of me. So since I left you, we had our first table read for the Flow project. Stephen couldn't make it. Julian was there, and it was on Cherie's script and then another person's script, which happened to be Stephen's and I script. So it went very well. Cherie was a bag of nerves, and she did awesome. Very well received. A lot of you knew I'm doing this educational project, and I kept avoiding who to tell you who the other executive producer was. And the reason being is, when I put the call out to see who's interested, if I tell you I'm working with David Frankel, all 30 of you are going to send me a script. But because I didn't tell you it was David Frankel, only 3 of you did. No, the lesson learned here, as John knows, sometimes you need to respond to things that could lead to something bigger and better. But none of you did. I gave you the opportunity, said it's okay, but just a lesson learned here, right? Just a lesson learned. Sometimes you never know what's around the corner. That's the kind of thought. The shoot was brutal, but again, look at that. The DP was Richard Chappelle. You don't know who he is? Maybe you're not a filmmaker. Those who are filmmakers will know who that guy is, okay? Top of the line DP. Became buddies with him because he's Australian, Vivian and Cherie. And I'm English, so I wore my England shirt and my Aston Villa shirt every day. We really got on well. When the company split to Unit A and Unit B, I was on Unit A with him. So we really got to work a lot together. He's accepting of ideas and things like that, which, I don't know, it was a little pushy of me, but, you know, I pushed ideas and he was accepting of them. And I have a meeting with him on Friday. He may come on board in our flow project, which would be absolutely friggin' amazing if I can get that guy on board. So super excited about that. Doug, thank you. I've had a great day today. I've had such good news in different places. So Doug, that's awesome that I got more good news. I appreciate about the
You're welcome. We don't even know what's going to happen though. Frankly.
Yeah, but still, it's still good news to know. As we had mentioned about script development, I have actually done no writing in 6 weeks because I've been writing in the script development. So those of you, I think Laurie had just said about feedback and keep rewriting. So I've been doing more of that than anything else. And I'll send you if I can do it, because you know I'm hopeless at techie stuff. I just had an interview posted on YouTube last night about how I broke into the industry. It's an interesting way. So if I can do it, I'm going to put it in the chat. And if I can't do it, Julian, can I send it to you? You do it for me. And then lastly, as Julian mentioned, the Carmine Theatre group that I'm involved with is all about horror stories. So if you have something you'd like to send to me, we want to keep it at 30, 40, maybe 50 pages max. So a pilot, a lengthy short, because we're still looking for content. Julian is the first up on May the 15th. The Eventbrite ticket thing is in the chat room. And those of you who like kind of more supernatural thriller stuff rather than horror, I'm having a table read of my pilot called Disposable People, run by Christine, a wonderful actors group in Toronto. They're all Canadian and they're absolutely amazing people. And we've been talking a lot about other projects. So Stephen, I was going to tell you the news when we meet later, but I'll just share the news now. I think I found a producer that I can end up doing a flow project in Toronto. Cheaper for me to fly there and work with the whole crew rather than do another one in Miami, for instance. So we may be coming with the project to Toronto. So that would be super exciting. That's me.
Great. Okay, Steve, we haven't seen you for a little while.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy working on sets recently. I was just on The Boys for a bit, season 3, and I'm going to a new show starting next week with Paramount. But in the meantime, I've been writing. I've been working a lot on that project with Alex, as well as dabbling a bit in writing a script in a foreign language. So that's been keeping me pretty occupied. But yeah, so just kind of using my free time as much as I can right now.
Good. John Lewis.
Hi, everybody. John Lewis from New York City. Good morning, good afternoon, and good day to our Australian friend. I've been in this, well, first of all, I'm going to have to scoot pretty soon. I have another Zoom thing in a little bit. But anyway, I've been in this theater world the last few weeks, and I can't seem to break out of it. It's storytelling nonetheless. Still getting good feedback from that reading I did in Socrates, New York, a couple of Saturdays ago. Went very well. Doing some minor rewrites now, but that piece is in good shape, and have finished another play, The Dying Breed. That's the one I pitched about the two guys driving cross country to go to a funeral. And actually, Christine, you mentioned, well, maybe that it might be a good film project. Well, because it's a singular location. An 81 Firebird Trans Am is what they're driving. So if anyone has contacts to an 81 Firebird Trans Am, I'm all ears. Yeah, that's, and I just got some feedback on it today. So it's 4 pages of notes to to siphon through, and there'll be some major rewrites happening with that. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I'm gonna pivot soon back to you guys with my film and TV projects. There's many of them, and I've talked about some of them here over the last few months since I've joined this. But we'll get back to it. But that's what I've been doing, and so again, I'm leaving in about 15 minutes. So hello and goodbye.
Okay. Pauline, what's
Hi,
happening with
everyone.
you?
Well, since the last time I was here, I think when the last time that I was here, I told you about a reading that I had hosted of my screenplay, and it went very well. But since then, I have been working on edits. I listened as the actors said my words and made a lot of notes, and so I made those edits. And I also met with a local person who has done executive producing before. And he has, some of his work is on Amazon Prime and some other streaming outlets. And he's very excited about the movie. And he said he wants to work with me. And he's been more like a mentor, telling me what I need. And I asked him exactly what would be his role as an executive producer. And he told me that he invests in films and he works with a team of investors, told me everything that I would need and, how to get ready for all of that. But I haven't really decided what I want to do. And, I'm finishing up my career as a professor, extremely busy right now with grading and all of that. And I told him that if I do decide to go ahead and independently produce it, it would be in another year. And he said perfect, because he has a lot of jobs. I don't know what they're called, but in music, he's doing a lot with music videos this year. And he said it would be perfect, and he would help me this year prepare for it. And so I was just very excited, that someone was that excited about my work. But I really think I would like to pitch it to see if I could sell it and it be produced, because I don't know, I produced a lot of things when I was younger, but lately my health hasn't been the best, and I don't know if I'm up to it at this point. But I'm really glad to know that, I have that support. And not only him, a lot of other people who attended the reading. I mean, so many people have been reaching out and they want to help. It looks like it might be going in that direction. But again, I haven't decided.
Good. Vivian, we haven't seen you for a while either.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Christine. It's good to be back here.
Yes.
I've been very busy with the doco that I mentioned last time, the World War I Army Nurses doco. Finally, we get a green light to screen it at the Parliament House in early June. And we chose the date is the 100th anniversary of one of the nurses that we covered in the film. And then after that, we will screen it, premiere it at a cinema. And I have been working on the website and also all these activities. And in Australia, we have the RSL Club. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's very common. It's a club for veterans, war veterans, and it's all over the country. So it's just like a dining club, and the casino is very popular. And we contacted the president of the club and talked about our film, and he said he fully supported. He's gonna send it to hundreds of clubs around the country to screen it when they want. But for us, we are going to screen it at 3 clubs where the nurses used to live you know, is Southern Sydney have agreed to have a private screening. And so that's just starting. And there's more, so I've devoted all my time, most of my time on that project. But fortunately, I finished my outline treatment after like the 7th rewrite. And so I've already sent it out for review. So that's what I've been doing.
Great, good. And myself, last week I met a producer on LinkedIn, and she wants to read my Hallmark spec mystery script. So I went through all the notes from my script doctor, 11 pages, and I came up with some more scenes. So now it's up to 105 pages. And tomorrow I'm going to print it off and check it again, read it out loud before I send it to her. And then, as Pat mentioned, she's been reading my 10 pages, and I've been reading her 10 pages of our horror scripts. And I also have another gentleman I'm exchanging pages with. So that's good to have other eyes on your script and see what's going on. And doing some more research on my other horror script that has to do with a young lady trapped in an elevator. And then I have to get back to my other Hallmark spec romance script. So I'm busy that way. Okay, so any other comments, Alex?
I just very quickly, Pat, what's happening with the short with the other Alex?
I have to email her to find out what's going on. The last we talked, she was looking at a June shoot date, but I don't have anything definite yet. And Christine, I think it's Gina Yashere, the comedian, who used to work for an elevator company, building them. And she looks at all these movies that use people trapped in elevators going, they can't do that. That's right. That's wrong. That's right. That's wrong. I think it's Gina Yashere.
Yeah, if you could put that in the chat, her name, and then I can contact her.
Okay, I'll spell her name as close as I can get to it.
Yeah.
She's Nigerian English.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, so tonight's topic is about writing emotions, and this is over 5 pages. I'm not going to read it all, just to highlight. And you'll be getting this tomorrow, the document, along with the chat. So some of the things that was in one of the Google sites that I looked at, it says, be specific with word choice. And of course, they're talking about eliminate phrases or descriptions that feel overused. And the second one, make sure readers identify with a protagonist. It says readers experience emotions through the eyes of the characters. That's why it's essential that your protagonist or main character be relatable and sympathetic. So we already talked about female characters the last week. And vary your descriptions. When it comes to emotional writing, it's not enough to simply relay the character's emotions. Readers need to see the effect of the character's emotions through their body language, facial expressions, and actions. And in this 5-page document I'll be sending you, there's 2 pages of emotions and what are the physical possible body language that goes with it. And it's very good that I was able to find that, and it gives you, other words to use. Build up your intense emotions for greater impact. In fiction writing, just like in real life, deep emotions are more memorable than shallow emotions. Unbridled joy is more impactful than fleeting happiness. Aching grief is more intense than minor disappointment. Readers are more likely to share in your main character's emotional state if these feelings are strong and passionate. So we can't be wishy-washy. It's better to, I think, overdo it a bit, because when we're doing script writing, you know, again, it'll be the director that'll decide whether to push them for more or to bring it back for less. And each, you know, actor has their own way of bringing these emotions to the screen. And this one, I was surprised. It says, try journaling. The most vivid and relatable character emotions often mirror real life experiences. That's why keeping a journal can be such a great resource. And I was thinking, once we can get out of this emergency lockdown, I didn't tell you, but in Ontario, we're not allowed to leave our house unless we go either to work, for food, or for medical supplies. You're not allowed to leave your house.
Is it because of the COVID, right? COVID?
Yeah, because of COVID, because okay. The numbers are really high, and they can't fill the ICU spots in the hospital. They've had to build like tents outside a lot of the hospitals.
I didn't even hear. I mean, I've heard so much about India and stuff. I didn't hear about.
Yeah, Ontario's really bad, and my city's really bad. And today it said on the news that any business that had 5 or more employees with COVID, they're shutting that business down for at least 10 business days to try to clear it, because things are so bad. It says, a journal can help you document your own daily emotional experience, whether it's anger, sadness, or joy. Oh yeah, so what I was going to say, as soon as things, you know, get better, we can go out. I was thinking, I need to go to a mall that has a food court and sit there with my journal and watch people interacting and writing down, you know, or a bigger coffee shop, that sort of thing. Because, you know, you need to really watch how these people interact, because they're going to be all different kind of emotions, right? The people are meeting and they're talking, and not all talk is going to be good. Like I said, I've got these 2 cheat sheets for writing body language. It says, what is body language? People react to situations with micro expressions, hand gestures, and posture. Most of us are not even aware of them. However, what we do with our body language has a huge impact on other people and how they interpret and perceive us. So it says the top 5 tips for using body language. Use body language to add depth to dialogue. Use it because more than 50% of human communication is nonverbal. And once a week, I read one of the blogs on Final Draft's website. And it said there was a movie with, all of a sudden I can't think of his name, famous actor, Nick, I'll think of him, and he never spoke through the whole movie. It was all action, what he did. So that'll be interesting, a horror movie that he did. Use it to show how your character's emotions affect his or her actions. Use it to help you show, rather than tell, your reader something. So instead of giving the emotion, you're giving the action. And then always use it in moderation. If overused, it can slow your story down. So like I said, that's all I'm gonna talk about it. Has anybody had any good experiences with their emotions in describing them or using them in your scripts? Alex?
Yeah, I've done 2 movies here which do not have a single dialogue word in it. They're strictly action. They're shorts, but they're no dialogue. And they've come out really quite well.
Well, the actor that I was thinking about is Nicolas Cage. He didn't speak at all in this movie, and it had to do with like an indoor amusement.
Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, Willy's Wonderland. Yeah,
I saw that a week or 2 ago, actually.
and that's true that he never spoke through it, through all the time he was in it. Sherry?
No, he didn't say a word. Yeah. That was
Yes,
interesting.
Alex.
I was going to say, I used to work with deaf kids, so a big part of their language is strictly expressions with the signs. So you can definitely see why we need that. And then I didn't see the film, but wasn't there a silent film that won the Oscars about 10 years ago?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I just remembered that a silent film had won the Oscars. Anybody remember what it was called? The something?
The Artist.
The Artist, yeah. That one, what was that, like 2009, 2010?
Something like that, yeah.
13 or 14, I think. It was up against like The Descendants and whatever year Tree of Life came out. So maybe that was before then. That was 2000, yeah, 2009, I think. Because I was in San Diego when I saw that. I do have a silent character in Poppycock because it's a character based on Harpo Marx. So one of my 3 wacky people there gets by almost entirely on physical humor, which I have to try to describe and get across, but mostly through action description and stuff. So the character doesn't have a single line in the entire movie, but so it was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
And talking about the Oscars, did anyone watch the Oscars the other night?
I did. You know, one thing that made me livid watching the Oscars was when they
Got just one thing.
There's a couple things I didn't like what they did with the actor stuff, but when they did the in memoriam, it started out kind of normal, and then someone like they hit the fast forward button. You couldn't pronounce their name before the next image and name came up. I thought, what a massive slap in the face to those people.
Yeah.
How disrespectful. Terrible. But the wins were pretty good. All the wins were really good.
And I figured out why they didn't leave the feature to the end, because they had the male actor at the end, because I think it was very controversial. I think people were expecting someone else to win, and there might have been, a big...
They wanted Chadwick Boseman to close out the ceremony by winning, and then Anthony Hopkins won, and, it was just a mess. Just don't do that, folks. Nobody ever knows. You never really know, right? There's always surprises at the Oscars, so it's just I didn't like also that they gave the director award out earlier in the show too.
Yeah,
usually,
that was weird.
You do your actors, you do the director, you do the best picture, boom. It's a formula, it works. Don't mess with it. Promising Young Woman got best screenplay, so that was it. And I just watched that. Have you any of you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good movie. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 thumbs up. I mean, a stunning movie and a really good example of like a powerful screenplay, and that goes places that you don't expect it to go, but when they go there, it's like exactly that's the only way it could have gone. Really, it's a beautiful, beautiful movie that has inspired a lot of debate, even among feminists. So the messages are subtle and complex, and there's a lot to dive in. My wife said might be one of her top 10 movies she's ever seen. So check out Promising Young Woman, an Oscar winner.
Christine, just want to talk about body language. Just last week, I watched this film. It's called The Vacation of Mr. Ulo from Jack Tati, and it was a very, very old film in 1953 in black and white, and it's not a silent film, but there's basically no dialogue, and it's just brilliant. So I highly recommend that people watch it if you want to learn body language. This is a comedy, and it's just so brilliant.
Can you please put it in the chat box?
Yeah, I will.
And then everybody will be able to look it up.
Yeah, George Tati, Jacques Tati, was one of the premium comedic actors, directors, and producers of that era. And he did an awful lot of things. Mr. Yulo was his character that he carried from all the way through, from Mr. Yulo's Holiday to Traffic to all of his others. And I really advise people to sit down and look at the works of Jacques Hulot if you're into writing comedy. He does some really tremendous video commentary, comedy. I mean, he needs no verb, he needs no dialogue. He has dialogue in there, but you'll see the comedy in his act. It's tremendous.
Doug, what is his last name again?
Tati, Jacques Tati.
Oh, thank you.
And I think I've got him back here behind the green screen. That's Jacques Tati.
Oh, okay.
And I've got all the films that he's ever made.
Thank you.
Steve, have you been doing any work in the film industry?
Yeah, so at the beginning of April, I just finished on a pilot show. I was in the locations department as a PA. It was, oh my gosh, what was his name? It was a show by the same director of the Mr. Robot. So that wrapped in early April. And then I've been doing just some LSP work on The Boys in the meantime. And starting next week, I'm on a show called Mayor of Kingstown with, I think, Jeremy Renner and Diana Weist. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So we're shooting a full season, I think ending in September. So it's going to be keeping me busy for most of the summer.
I guess this month, Zac Efron is going to be shooting in Hamilton, a horror movie.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think there's a few other kind of bigger names in it as well. I think I'm thinking about the same thing, but yeah, a lot of stuff is picking up here. A lot of shows, and it's good news.
Murdoch Mystery did some kind of Christmas movie.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good news too. Like Nick was saying about the Netflix hub opening up here. That'll be good for us.
Yeah. So Ardell's joined us. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you've been working on?
Just real quickly, the director's name is Sam Esmail, Steve.
Yeah, that was it. It slipped my mind.
Oh, I've just been working on my rewrite after my beta readers have finished with Murder by Pins and Needles, so I haven't been working on a screenplay yet.
Yes, Alex.
I'm sorry, I'm getting bugged to join something. What's Clubhouse? Have you guys used it? I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
I have it. I can give you an invite if you need one. You do need an iPhone. It's like Twitter but audio, basically.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of creative people on there.
A friend of mine's asking me to join. I'm like, maybe
Join.
Well,
Yeah, join.
No, but I'll do it another. Okay.
Yeah, sure. You
Now,
got
do it now.
a lot of fun. There's a lot of.
Call here. I'll tell him I'll join at some other time. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what Clubhouse is. Never heard of it.
I've got in some chat rooms with some pretty interesting people. I actually, like the screenwriter of the upcoming Saw movie Spiral. Ended up in a group together and ended up following each other on Twitter. You never know. Like, there's been some interesting folks I've come across, and other up and
I've got followed by a few people. Tori Spelling followed me on Clubhouse.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so it's really fascinating. There's a lot of writing and filmmaking chats going on, a lot of folks. So
I'll definitely try it out. Cherise, you must have heard about that wonderful short you're writing for the Flow project.
Sherry, could you send me an invite to Clubhouse?
And we have somebody new. Hannah, are you able to show up on video?
Hi, how are you? Well, I don't have video.
Oh. Okay, so want to introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and what you're writing.
My name is Hannah Strauss, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona. And I'm creating a script that's sort of a sci-fi dramedy called Joe Plant. And it's a sort of a superhero fictional character endowed with certain powers that were gifted to him by a strange plant. So
it's called
what?
peyote. It's called peyote.
Peyote, yeah. Ayahuasca. He's friends with peyote for sure.
And did you have a question you wanted to ask the group?
Yeah, I think I sent it in. Yeah, it was about the tone of my script that was mentioned by a couple of readers, that they thought that the tone of my script was sort of in conflict, because there are certain elements of it that appear to be adult and certain elements of it that appear to be geared towards family or children. So I'm wondering if I can still work with that, or do I have to make some kind of decision to go in one direction?
No, you can. There's no reason not to work with that. You can blend all that stuff very nicely.
That's what I thought, because look, if you look at a lot of superhero movies out today, there are certain elements that appeal to kids and adults as well. So I don't know why they thought there was a conflict in that.
Well, your whole story, the whole script is built on the concept of conflict. But those are two different, what you're talking about here is two different genres. And you can shuffle those together. That's not a problem.
I didn't think it was. So, okay, it's just nice.
Yeah, everything I write is comedic paranormal.
Right.
You know, who would think those two would go together?
Hannah?
Yeah.
I had a meeting with a big time friggin' executive from the community earlier, and we ended the conversation with, you know, people don't know each other, and it's a case if you all just commit to, you know, getting the right goal and bending backwards and forwards. So just communicate with the people that you're getting the feedback from. That's all I can say.
Okay.
I got to sign off, everybody. So nice seeing you.
Okay,
Bye.
Next time.
2 weeks.
Bye.
But if it's too adult, then ratings will change.
Right.
You just have to worry about that aspect of it.
Christine, you know, what ratings would change when you call it, if it's too adult? Are you talking about getting into hot, sexy porn stuff, or are you just talking about intellectual stuff?
Well, smoking will change the rating.
Well, in my script, there's, you know, situations, there's things like marijuana involved. There's some adult language, but there's even the sexual content is not very overt. It's sort of implied or whatever. So there's nothing very obvious or over the top or anything like that. But when I wrote the script, I didn't have the intention to have a G rating on it or PG. So that was not my original intention.
But again, a producer can come in and say to you, they want it more one way or another, depending on, where they're planning to distribute it, what parts of the world, and then you have to decide whether you'll make those changes for that producer.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the process. I would anticipate something like that would happen if it ever got picked up. So rarely do things go through the whole system without being changed, so, from my experience.
So Hannah, why aren't you considering the changes now? You got to please the gods sometimes, right, to get the script moving forward.
Yeah, that's true. Another individual suggested to me write different versions of the script to appeal more an adult or more of a...
I have those as well. I do that. Yeah.
I'll give you a movie I want you to watch. It's called Leaves of Grass. Ed Norton plays in it. I can't remember who all's in it, but it's very well done. But I don't think it ever went to a theatrical release. I think it only went to DVD release.
Mm-hmm.
And its whole theory, it was shot in the South. It has to do with marijuana. It touches on insulting everybody. They pick on the Jews, they pick on everybody. So it never got theatrical release. But his is done really well. Also, I'm related to Tim, but it has done very well.
Okay. I'll take a look at it if I can find it.
Yeah, you'll have to look pretty hard.
Yeah.
And what's the title again, Doug?
Leaves of Grass.
Leaves of Grass.
Let me put my glasses on. I can tell you who all's in it. It's got a pretty good collection of actors. Let's see. We've got Edward Norton, who is a good actor. Kerry Russell, Tim Blake Nelson. I know that guy. Richard Dreyfuss, and Susan Sarandon.
Okay. Well, everybody knows her.
Pardon?
Most people know her.
Yeah, I know her when she was just called plain Susie. But but I think you'll find that it's just an interesting comedic film that touches on a lot of taboo issues, including marijuana and stuff like that.
I just checked on IMDb Pro. It bombed in the making money.
Yeah.
It's saying that doesn't mean anything. The budget was 9 million. It only brought in 1.3 million.
Yeah, that's because it got no theatrical release.
Yeah.
Doug, could you please also write the title of the Tati book? Just write, the Jack Tati book that you showed earlier.
I can tell you how to spell it. I don't know I'm not going to write it here because I don't have a keyboard here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's
so what's the title?
It's Jaqus.
No, I know how to spell his name, but what's the name of the book?
It's not a book. It's all of his movies.
It's called Jack Tati, that's all?
It's the complete collection of Jack Tati's movies.
Okay, thank you.
I can't remember what else in there, but Mr. Yulo's Holiday is in there, and I can't remember what it is else is in there.
I had to read some of Mr. Hulo's stories in French class in college.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. He's got, besides Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, he has Traffic, Mon Oncle, Jour de Fée, taught a bunch of shorts, and he's got a thing called Playtime. Those are all films that he's done.
All of his film was spoken film, except for this one. He just wanted to stretch it, to push the envelope, I think.
Most of them were shot in French. Some of them were not. Some were shot in English.
Mhm.
And they used that, the old French nitrate color film at the time. So it's hard to find any of them that are still around.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen the top Oscar-winning movie, that Nomadland?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It won an Oscar.
Well,
Okay, so why do you guys think it won? Because looking at it, I have no interest in watching it, to me. I'm just looking at it thinking, okay, it looks more like a documentary. Why am I watching that?
it is kind of a documentary hybrid because besides Francis McDormand and David Strathairn, nearly everybody in the movie is an actual nomad, kind of a wanderer.
Okay.
And they give some of the most amazing performances. So it's very lyrical. It's a tone poem, So
Oh.
maybe a trailer might not capture that. If you watch
Once you watch it, get into it, and you okay, yeah, because the trailer and stuff does nothing to me.
I was drawn in and fascinated the whole movie, so I would recommend it. And it's on Hulu. You can see it on Hulu. If you
I have Hulu.
There you go.
Getting ready to watch the Handmaid's Tale season 4 just came out.
You're sticking with that still? Wow. You and 3 other people, right? I love season 1 though, but I've heard
Season 1 was phenomenal. Yeah, you know what it is? I have an actor friend who's in it, and then I have an actor friend, you know her, Kat, who did some of the readings with us, Julian. Her son is one of the kids in the film. So the fact that I know people in the show is why I think I'll watch it.
There you go.
Yeah, gotta
Season
support them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gotta support your fellow actors. If any of you guys were in a film and it looked horrible, I'd still watch it. The sci-fi film, I'm working for the Sci-Fi Channel. The script is horrible. I don't think the film's going to be great, even though our director will do a great job with it. But I'll watch it, even just to watch my credit name at the end. I'm going to watch it. So if any of you invited me to watch a film that you've made that you're in, I'm going to support you. But,
Are you gonna,
what you think of it.
well, Alex, are you going to get both credits as
Yes.
first directed and script?
Yeah, they just sent me some forms to fill out to also get extra money as well.
Good.
Nice.
Alex, what is the title of the show you're working on?
It's a feature for the Sci-Fi Channel. It's called Robot Apocalypse.
Okay, it's a series?
No, it's I'm not sure if you watch the Sci-Fi late at night. I figured just young people who smoke weed watch the Sci-Fi Channel late at night. I don't know. But it's one of those things that it's already distributed. They have, I guess, certain things they show in the year. And it's one of those films, the drones are coming that save the world. It's one of those type of films. It's already slated for a time distribution on the channel. The challenge was the script was so bad. I mean, I had this 116-page script given to me, and I said to the director, we got problems here. So I managed to sharpen the Occam's razor, get it down to 94. Somehow had to line up the scene numbers for slates with their 116 page. That was a challenge. So that when we're sending in dailies with the slate numbers, they match up to what they believe is in the story. So that was a big challenge. And I don't know, I'm of the ilk of, if you're showing me something as a professional, have it at least look professional. I mean, the guy would make changes and you'd see those stars and those X's that come up on the final draft.
Alex, that's the hardest thing to deal with is, you're just not getting professional quality material.
Oh, shocking. Shocking. I mean, I could literally read some of the pictures I took of his version of wordy. I'll give you a classic example. Ready? Julian, can I use your name? Thank you. Julian turns to the door because the sounds of the robots. He looks up. The sound of the robots is getting louder and louder. He looks to his friend and says, Alex, my God, the robots are getting louder and louder. He would write like that. I kid you not. He would repeat himself all the time. And he had one scene that I cut out and the director says, I'll take the biscuit. There's a young lady who's the protagonist. She mentions her dead brother once. She happens to be in this amazing ass robot thing, climbing in it to get to the motherboard. And there happens to be a picture of her dead brother in there. And she peels it off and says, Simon, I know you can get me through this. So after I vomited 5 times, I says to the director, I've cut it out. Just say, blame the guy, get him fired, whatever. I refused to put that in the movie. Refused. So it was things like that that just sent me bonkers. And then the EPs would try to send us changes almost every night. And then we'd say, well, we've already shot all that. We can't change it now. So we'll see. But it was fun.
Alex, welcome to the world of filmmaking.
Yeah, that's what everybody says, I think I just have maybe what's the word? A glass vision with rosy glass eyes, maybe. Like that. But again, as I said to Stephen, when we do our production in September, now I know not what to do. So that's really helped me about seeing things where, okay, yeah, make sure we do it this way and not that way. So yeah, great experience. I can't complain. It's still a great experience.
So Alex, are you getting any credit for the rewrites?
No, I'm just getting credit for script supervision instead. That's what I'm pushing for. So they're talking of a sequel, and Matt, the director, and Richard, the DP, they've already said they don't want to work with that writer. So they said that maybe we can have myself write the sequel, but that's a conversation that, Tito Ortiz is the star of the film. You may know him as a UFC champion, and he went into acting a few years ago. So they want to try to work on the whole Latin market with Tito. So that's why they may be considering doing a sequel, but the writer and the DP can't work with that writer. He's a first-time writer. His friends are the EPs. He's a disaster. I mean, how dare he call up the director nearly every day? Did you get this shot done? Did you keep this? Yeah, I know. It was so, literally one day, Matthews, the director, says, Alex, can you show him footage? So I'm on my phone with his iPhone showing him the shot. And then Matt takes the phone back and says, we've got to go. We're still filming. We're busy. Click. The guy was just, please don't ever do
How
that.
did it get so far? How did such terrible...
Apparently, he is very good friends with the EPs who do this every year. They produce like 23 films. So he must have bugged them for years. I want to write a film. I write one. And they said, okay, let's do it. Yeah, it was just, I'll see about sending out the original script and then the script with it's nice.
Now you know why when we're directing a film, we close the set. We don't want to
exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things that I would do is, yeah.
And a lot of new writers just get upset about that.
No, exactly. If I'm filming Julian's script in September, then Julian gets paid. He gets credited as the writer. He birthed a child. Now he's giving it up for adoption. Mm-hmm. Where the adoption?
Let him on the set.
No, I agree. It's stages, I've never seen an architect go on site when they're building a friggin' building. I don't know. That's
you haven't?
Just saying. Okay, then so Adele, when you write your books, are you in the printing press watching it be printed? I'm just trying to figure out different analogies here. I'm of the ilk that you have a role and you've done your role. Now it moves on. Obviously, a writer-director is different. But I think writers get too married to their scripts. You've birthed a child, you've given up adoption, that's where he goes.
You can't be in love with your words.
Yeah. So it was frustrating in that sense. But I don't know. I'm an insomniac, so me getting a phone call at 3 a.m. to do some script changes for the sides the next day wasn't that bad for me. But like Doug says, welcome to the film of filmmaking. But now, apparently, there's another job coming down the pipeline already. So we'll see.
Oh, by the way, I just wanted to mention, I also worked in the film industry as a storyboard artist for 25 years. So I'm also, along with the screenplay that I've been writing, I've been illustrating and writing a graphic novel to go with the character Joe Plant.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a different storyline than the screenplay. I sort of made it more tailored to a more general audience than the screenplay. So
you've got great images already for a pitch deck and marketing. So that's very cool.
yeah, well, it's there on stage 32 if you want to take a look at some of it. I put some of it there. So.
Oh, okay. I'm a member. Hannah Strauss. Let me make a note. Nice.
Yeah.
So, Alex, how long were your days shooting?
It was non-union, so I lost track of time. I'm not a morning guy, so I did arrange that 6:30 a.m. calls, which is not going to happen with me. I mean, I arranged that. The crew would go, say, 6:30, 7. Then other people would show up at 9, actors around about 10. So I would show up usually with the actors. Part of my job as first AD was to work with the material with the actors, especially when there was changes. And then I got to do the read for Tito when he did his voiceover. So I'm in the recording booth with him. So I'm playing the other character at the other end of the radio. So that was kind of cool. And then I did that for the lady for his role. So I read his lines when we shot her. So things on set were kind of cool. I enjoyed them. Yeah, it was a good experience in a lot of ways. It's just you can't do 2 jobs. When you're non-union, you still got to split it up. So I had very long days because I would leave the set after, say, 8 or 9 hours, have something to eat at 11 p.m. And then the DIT guy and myself would go through the dailies. That went on for about, 3 hours. So I'd get to bed at 3 a.m. and then there'd be a phone call, script changes for tomorrow. So it was brutal. But again, I think if everybody was to get, Doug says it all the time at all these meetings, you really do need the experience because you see a lot about as writers, all the background stuff, all the off the page stuff. We don't realize that as writers, and it makes such a difference for the actual production. The DPs and the ACs and the camera people and everybody's dealing with the setup. If you write a great script, they can then convert it into the shooting script and they can do their best job. But when you've got a messy, sloppy script, especially with holes in the story and how the lines are delivered, it's just harder for everybody else. So I can only stress as screenwriters here, really work on telling the best story only. Don't tell us how to, make the story, but also do consider maybe taking classes for like line production and things like that. It just helps you as a writer understand everybody else's role once you've released the script, and you can make their lives a lot easier on how you've written the script. That's definitely a lesson I've learned over the last 2 weeks. And that's why, Sheree and I, we argue about it and we make fun of it, but that's why the script development on the flow scripts has been so important, because I've got so many other things in mind. Maybe Sheree is writing down the story and I have to give her these limitations. It's a challenge as a writer, right, Sheree? I know it's been tough for you. You can tell me off. Go ahead. Chime in. Chime in. No? I'm hoping you to chime in then, Sheree, about it. Had the challenges been?
Sorry, I was nodding yes. Yeah. You just, there might be, 1 or 2 things I'm like, oh, I don't agree with that, but it's not for me. I'm doing this for someone else. So what Alex wants or what David wants is what I've got to try and deliver, and hopefully I will. And yeah, so yeah, it's part of the job.
Well, you know, having some on-site experience, I've been a line producer. I think it was Second Story or something like that. And I've been, you know, a field producer on Ghost Town Gold or one of those things. That's a real education. It will tell you more about how your script should be written. It won't tell you how to write it, but it'll tell you how it should be written so that it can be translated to the screen. And that's not your job as the writer. Your job as the writer is to entertain. You're not a preacher, you're an entertainer. You write a story that's entertaining. Somebody will come along and look at your story and figure out how to plaster it up on the screen. And then somebody else will come along and chop it up into pieces and edit it all together. And it's when you go through that whole process, you know, the actors bringing your characters to life and all of that, that's when you get a movie. Other than that, you know, wasting your time shooting skits or stuff.
Does anybody
But that's
here,
where
is anybody here doing animated film?
I've worked in animation. I'm not doing animation right now, but that was one of the mediums I worked a lot in
Yeah.
TV animation.
I just have a book that I did the drawings for, and it's a short children's book. And I just think to myself, I can imagine it in a movie, in an animated movie. And I thought, oh, at the present time, I'm just giving it away on my website. But anyway.
I shot some stuff that was claymation, not real animation, but claymation. And that just takes forever. You know, you can spend a whole day to get 2 seconds worth of film.
Did you work with Will Vinton?
No.
He used to
Originally,
work-
I did some stuff with Pixar back in the old days and stuff.
You were going to say something, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Julie and I have had this conversation as writers. Do you write a me draft or do you write a we draft? A me draft is like you're so happy with the story and you can put it in a drawer and read it every so often and be happy with it. But a we draft is, it's for everybody else to, you know, to make that film, to share your vision, add their spin to it. I mean, working with just the set designers was just fascinating watching them, how they create things from the script. But again, if the script isn't clear about how the spaceport is set up, for instance, everybody was just, you know, their heads were spinning when you read some of these scenes that go into it. It's like, that doesn't make sense. So again, as writers, you know, write with your passion and write the imaginative stories that you have, but please just take one course in line production, or please just take one course in, you know, what happens on the set, because it will help you, like Doug has said, write it in a way that it just helps everybody else after the fact. And those are probably the scripts that are getting made and ours are not. I mean, probably one reason, you know, some people are clever enough to write it where they know that this can get made. Whereas we may have a great story to tell, but production viability is through the roof, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know what all producers are looking for, but I'm wondering if that is part of the barriers to us as new writers breaking in, where if you're experienced in the film industry writing, have a big advantage. I really do believe that.
Well, you see, I had just the opposite thing happen when I started writing the script, because I was so shot heavy in the script and the descriptions, because I was visualizing as I was writing, because that's the experience that I had in film, is working with the director, and he was directing shots to me and I had to visualize those shots. So I started writing all that stuff in the script. Somebody said, no, you don't have to do that. It's not necessary to do that.
Yeah, but
So
Hannah, you're not making the film, the director is, so that's why
I
they
know.
don't want to do
It's like, do you want to be the director, or do you want to be the writer? So
exactly. But there's ways you can do that as you write. Instead of saying angle on Julian to the left of me, we can direct the camera with Alex looks up and slowly moves to Julian. It's the same thing, but I'm not writing as a director. So when you write, I talked to Pauline about this. Imagine a camera on your shoulder. And that's guiding you as you do your writing. And you never mention an angle or a shot or POV or anything.
Yeah, the problem was I was mentioning the angle, so I eliminated that.
Yeah, there's no need.
Yeah, you don't tell a producer or the DP how to do his job. You just write it as you see it. And if it's well written and tight, I mean squeaky tight, don't put an awful lot of exposition in there, then the director will be able to translate that to the screen. And the actors will be able to play the characters that you have. And the editors will be able to cut it all together. Don't worry about it. That's their job. I was going to ask you, Hannah, do they still have Old Tucson out there at Ajo Way?
They sure do. It was closed during COVID, but I think it's I think it's actually going to it's the old Tucson Studios. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I remember it being out there in Ajo Way.
Yeah, but I think they're actually closing it down because they've been losing money on it. So I think they're going to turn it into something else.
Yeah, I started some early work out there when I went to the U of A.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been on that street. I used to spend a lot of time with an aunt that lived on Ajo Way.
On Ajo Way. Yeah, that's right. I live out in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful spot.
It is. Yeah, I enjoy it. Oh, another question I have. Oh, do you want to, Ardell, do you want to?
I just want to make a comment, following Alex's comment, that if you when you think of a camera.
Vivian, hold on. Hannah, can you mute, please? We can hear your conversation.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying anything.
No, what I'm saying is that just follow up on Alex's comment is when you think of a camera angle, change it to a point of view. Change it to a point of view, as Alex said, Christine turn her head, or someone in the scene, someone is looking at the scene instead of spelling out the camera angle. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I changed some of that over already. I've done that. So through the recommendations of a lot of people. So yeah, I just had to shift my way of describing things because I was so used to working from shooting scripts and working with directors. I sort of had to just put that aside and just approach it differently when I would write it. So
yeah, I had the same problem when I first wrote, because I was on set a lot and I worked closely with the director. Mm-hmm. And it was very difficult at the beginning, but then when I start thinking of point of view, it just makes things much more clear.
Yeah, POV, that's in there a lot.
You don't write that in there.
Doesn't need to be. Hannah, you can have a spec script that has no POVs, camera angles in it whatsoever, and the director knows where the camera's going. But anyway, just lastly, to wrap up about how bad this script was, the actors and myself cut out every indication on how to say the lines. I write all my scripts and I never lead the actors. I don't know how you guys feel, but I refuse to put it in my scripts. So
well, they're called parentheticals. Leave them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the advice that John Friesen gave me. He said, the first thing you have to remember is don't tell the actors how to act.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I guess Alex's experience underlies the lesson. It's not necessarily how good you are, even. Sometimes it's just who you know. This scriptwriter apparently writes like garbage. His thing is getting made.
Yeah.
Whereas some of us spend a lot. I believe that craft has to take, at least for my goals, craft is important, right? But, I'm sitting there trying to win contests or get good coverage or get on the blacklist or something, and it's like, Some people are just moving and shaking and getting to know people, and they get their crap filmed. So it inspires all of us, right?
So
It's all
Alex,
called, yeah, it's all called connections. And you start when you're young, and you get yourself on a set, and you meet the people. And you don't mess with all of these festivals and contests and stuff like that. Those are things out there just designed to, they've got to siphon into your wallet. That's all that is. Now, there are half a dozen festivals that are pretty decent, pretty good. The G. Nichols is pretty good. Page is pretty good. TIFF is pretty good. Sundance is pretty good. But I've run out of fingers. You know, and that's about it. The rest of them, just fold your wallet up. And you just have to get out there and market yourself. Don't even market your script. Market yourself. Just take your script with you.
Alex, was the first 10 pages of this script any good, or was the whole thing bad?
So putting aside I don't like sci-fi, putting that aside, it was more, I would say, in the first kind of 11 or 12 pages, more about the presentation, typos, spelling mistakes, syntax was horrible. All the X's and stars were still on the script, which is a few buttons of cleanup in final draft. So I was like, well, this guy's lazy. And then the more you read his work, he constantly repeated himself. And his sentence structure. Next time there's a break, I'm going to go on my camera and just read his version to my version. You'd be shocked. I thought it was a kid who wrote this movie because the syntax was just awful. But then I found out who he was. He was a friend of the DPs. So yeah. Julian said he's got the connection to get it made.
But you made a few 10 pages.
Yeah, the shame is the Sci-Fi Channel has, you know, millions of people around the world watching these films. Now, I can say we've cleaned up the script. We got great actors. The director's great. When we share the film with you, it's actually going to come out to be a pretty good film because of everybody else but the writer.
Based on the book by. Based loosely on the book by.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just that experience. Sometimes you'll have an amazing script and maybe the other half, you know, the crew and the DP and the director are not that great. How many scripts are brilliant, and then when it comes to film, it wasn't as good. So it could work both ways.
The question I have, Alex, is how many pages did it take for you to figure out that the script is no damn good?
2.
That's more like it, not 10. 2.
2 pages.
You'll know it by the time you hit, actually, by the time you hit to the bottom of page 1, you know.
Yeah, I would say by the second page.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Pauline and I have gone through things with her script, and I was explaining the kind of things that people look for. Pauline, I mean, I know I gave you a hard time initially about your script, you just, you know, the work you needed, but wow, yours was way better than this one. And you've elevated it so much now, and you've done the right things. You've rewritten it. You've got a table read. And that's the work that you put in, and you see it in the script. I'm sure if I read your script now, Pauline, night and day from what I read 3 months ago.
Yeah, I'm sure.
This writer was disappointing that he was super lazy. There's no way you don't know how to write a sentence structure or a spelling and typos. Yeah. That to me is just laziness. I don't care who your freaking friends are. At least put out a product that's professional, that at least we can somehow, we'll try to work from it because at least, you know, the basics were done. And that was what was disappointing, that the basics weren't even covered. And that to me.
And, you know, that's what I was mentioning to Christine earlier. I want a profession. I want something I can take to production. It has to be good. Otherwise, I don't want it.
Now, Alex, do you know the age of the writer? Was he young or?
No, as I said, I met him once on that FaceTime call. And as a guess, he's late 30s, early 40s. But it's his first screenplay he's ever written.
And is he like a regular educated person? It's not like he's foreign and English wasn't his first language.
No, again, lazy.
Just lazy.
Absolute lazy. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Americans, English is not their first language. God only knows what is.
So again, I'll share maybe. I'll ask if I'm allowed to share the original script. It's embarrassing. It's just all I can say. It's embarrassing. If I do script coverage for Cooped Up, I would have sent it back to Emily after 2 pages and said, listen, we can't work with this. You cannot work with this. Don't even bother wasting your time. But again, that's only one person's opinion. His buddies, the EP, said it's good enough to be sent out to be made.
And when is it expected to be out?
Towards the end of the year, I don't know the exact date yet, but I will know. And like I said, I have faith because the crew is so amazing that they will end up putting out a pretty good product because of, you know, we have a fabulous DP, fabulous camera people, fabulous ACs, really creative director, very good actors. I know because the lead is a friend of mine. I got her the role. So it'll end up being a fairly good film to watch. But if you could go back in time after watching it and see the crap we went through and see the freaking first draft of the script we were given, whoa.
And, you know, that's one of the hardest things to come by is a really talented crew. Really. I mean, a lot of these, you know, a lot of these people just kind of want to sit around down by Starbucks and wait for them to become millionaires. But I'm looking for really talented people to be on a crew.
Oh, these guys are great. I mean, these guys all decided to cut their rates because they were helping out the director. It was his second feature that Giovanni Lampassi usually does. So this was like Gio's right-hand man, and this was the second feature that he was on. So a lot of the crew flew in from LA. I mean, these are guys who make, you know, $1,200 a day, and they flew in. And I mean, I have the budget, but I can tell you they weren't being paid $1,200 a day. You know, if you have ACs who make $800 a day, they cut down their rates to kind of get work, obviously, to connect with Gio and Matt, to connect with the Sci-Fi Channel. So, you know, we're all talking about always trying to make connections. So a lot of the reason why even Richard Chappelle came on board, he hasn't worked in a while because of COVID. So he lives in Atlanta. And when they decided to shoot in Atlanta, he came on board. He was given better credit rather than just being DP. He was DP/second unit director, so he gets a higher credit. But here's a famous guy that's working on a kind of a crappy project, but he hasn't worked in about, you know, what did he tell me, 9 months because of COVID. So he kind of wanted to get his feet back into the things. For all we know, Julian and Stephen and Cherie, he may be doing our project in September. That's my next goal, is to get him on board on Friday. I think he and Davey can persuade him. I really do.
And how many days was the shoot?
8, and we have to go back for another 6. We had conflicts in schedules with Tito, and then we had rain delays, almost 2 days. So I think
we're having to go back and do pickups. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's what we did, again, as script supervisor and working with the director and the DPs, you look at the script and you plot out your schedule. So we purposely scheduled some of the bigger scenes with just, say, 2 actors who are local Atlanta people. We didn't shoot them at all. So we can go back and work with, you know, they have, I think, 2 big scenes that we need to shoot. And then there's maybe 2 or 3 scenes with the lead girl, who's my friend, who will be flexible about getting back there to do it. And then we have to do some B-roll footage. You know, we never had any opportunity to drive around and film the Atlanta skyline and drive around and film some streets of Atlanta, all that type of stuff we didn't get a chance to do. So that's kind of easy. But the sci-fi stuff, Julian, you know, I can't remember who's the sci-fi buffs here. It's really interesting how you get in the, what they call the sides. So you're filming a certain thing, and that's where the visual effects will go in. So it's slated so that we know they're looking at this big robot. Right now we're looking at a green screen, but later on there will be the actual VFX shot in there. So things like that were quite interesting.
Love sci-fi, but I haven't paid attention to the Sci-Fi Channel in probably over 10 years.
Oh,
the thing I watched on there was Farscape. Once they canceled Farscape, an Australian show, Cherie, Once they canceled Farscape and then changed their spelling, I didn't think anybody's taking them much seriously. They're the Sharknado network, but I mean, you know, and no insult to you, of course. Absolutely great job getting the work there. I mean, but
Yeah, they have a lot of money because it's sci-fi / Discovery Channel. I mean, millions of audience members and the advertising going through. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that there's extra work because the money's there, which would be a great experience. I'd even go to LA if I have to.
Step up. Every job is a step up.
Yeah,
You
hopefully.
know, so
Yeah,
everyone
hopefully this is the worst experience I've ever had, and I'll just move up from there. Exactly. I rest my case.
Yeah, we're all hoping that, you know, and to everybody on there. There's so many talented people that got started out on stuff like that, you know, they're probably not proud of, but it got them started. So good luck to you on that.
But Pauline had said earlier, you know, she's wondering about producing something because her health wasn't good. Well, years ago when I was with the Directors Guild of Canada, I got a phone call to be second AD on the remake of Total Recall in Toronto. And because of other commitments, I had to not take it. And I found out later that they were working 6 days a week for 6 months in Toronto. Like, and then, you know, this could be 12, 14-hour days, could even up to be 18-hour days, and then trying to drive back and forth, you know, from Toronto, which could be 2 to 4 hours, depending on the time of day. You know, that wasn't going to be working in. And I wasn't no young chickie then, so, you know, like, no way could I have done 6 months of that. And when I did do some second AD work just for dailies, oh man, like, you couldn't sit. You had to stand the whole time to, you know, to do the work and move people around, and it was awful, you know, like, and so it's really, I really commend Alex for, you know,
Yeah,
taking on
Christine,
that
are you
kind
one
of
of those
job.
people that needs sleep?
I need sleep.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't mind in that sense. But you're right, the long days and there's things pop up, of course, that you don't expect. You know, the two actors fighting with each other. Oh God, I had to play my black and white shirt on with a whistle. Play that. That was interesting. Just stupid little things that you just don't think about that are going to pop up that could cause a delay and things like that. So I'll give you a classic example, Doug. You'll laugh at this. We were filming on a top of a trailer on a chassis, driving around this old car and then doing close-ups and wide shots. And I had a tripod on the car filming, you know, the wide. Who puts a $80,000 camera on a plastic tripod? Someone made that mistake. So of course, every time we go over something, so we lost a half a day shooting because of that. We had to call up and someone had to ship over a proper tripod to be mounted on the car. It was just, you know, that's not me. But again, I wouldn't have thought about things like that, but somebody should have.
There are little things like that that pop up all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you got a PA who's keep him on his feet in the set, and he backs up and knocks the light over in the middle of your money shot. Or, you know, we had a pole operator operating a microphone, boom operator. He had an electronic heart valve. We didn't know what the hell that clicking sound was. It came in on the audio. And I finally had to tell him, you know, hey, just turn your heart off. I mean, you know, either that or we need somebody else to handle the pole. Yeah, you never know what's going to show up.
Well, I worked on a film that had a real catastrophic incident happen to it where it had to be shut down, and then they decided to continue with it later on. I worked on The Crow, and I think most of you are aware what happened with Brandon Lee when they started shooting it. They had an unqualified individual handling the firearms on the set. She had no experience with firearms, even though they used squibs. She didn't know about checking you know, the barrel of the, you know, the handgun or whatever before and after. And as a result, there was a squib already in the chamber, but she double loaded it. And that's what killed Brandon Lee. Just, you know, a terrible oversight like that can just completely change everything. So I came.
That'll shut down your, you know, add a few a days to your shoot. Yeah. When you
Yeah.
shoot your star.
Yeah. Yeah, this was in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is, you know, non-union. And they didn't hire, you know, a person who was qualified to handle firearms. I mean, they could have found a non-union individual that was a firearm expert to handle the firearms, but they didn't do that. So it's sad. But they did eventually finish the film, and I worked on the reshoots and stuff for the film. So.
Okay, well, I think we'll start closing down and get everybody to tell us what they'll be working on the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, because our next meeting will be Monday, May the 17th, in 2 weeks. Okay, Julian.
Still putting off starting that sci-fi novel. So in the meantime, I've been thinking a lot about Poppycock and just trying to elevate it to the next level. So I've had some good story ideas lately that I think have upgraded it. You know, really the top thing on my list right now is to finish a script review for my writers group with Alex. So I read that script. It's very impressive, but it's a very professional piece of work. So I think I have to spend a lot of good time on coverage. So yeah, right now, not tons going on.
Hey, Sherry, are you there to let us know what you'll be working on?
Not there.
Not there. Okay, we'll check on her shortly. Sile, what about you?
I'm gonna do some more research about the history that happened 600 years ago, where my script take place. So yeah, and I'm gonna prepare for my exams too.
And what about, is there any YouTube footage about Scotland and that you can check the landscape or whatever?
Yeah, maybe I will have to find a map for that time, but I haven't been able to find anything. So I'm kind of hoping that the Scottish government will open for international travel soon, so I can meet one of the professors I have reached out to. So yeah, hopefully.
Good. Okay, Sherry, what are you going to be working on the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, I'm like pressing the wrong thing. Well, obviously, I'm gonna have to do some work with David's feedback on the short script, and you know, like I said before, I've got a TV pilot I'm trying to, you know, polish off. I've had some feedback, and that's been pretty positive actually. So getting that ready to send off. Got to get the ISA. It's through ISA, and yeah, and just you know, whatever time I've got, do more on my horror features. So just more of the same of what I've been doing the last few weeks.
Good. Pat.
There it is. Okay, hopefully I'm finishing up my thriller. There's not a lot to do, just some polishing up the rough edges. And we'll be working on that comedy with my friends. And I have no idea, just chilling out, I hope.
Well, we're going to be exchanging more pages.
Yeah, and we'll
horror.
be, yep.
Okay, Nick.
everybody. Yeah, so I'll still be working on my current script, Luna Weds Luna. Really go back and yeah, I think there's some issues with the structure and the formatting. So pay attention to that. I do have a critique group with Lori and Fatima, and that's next weekend. So I'm sending it to them, and then also in contact with Vivian about outline development and reviewing her outline, and also going to be sending mine. And then yeah, just reading up the notes that you sent, the documents regarding emotional development. I feel like those are really helpful while I'm doing my script. I can incorporate as much as I could to really, make the script more meaty. And yeah, thanks for doing that, Christine. It's actually been really helpful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I tend to do better one script at a time, because of other priorities. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.
Doug, I guess you'll be waiting for things to open up for you.
Basically, yeah, I'm going to go back to, when it opens up, I'll go back to teaching and, teaching film production and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to do a DSLR class as soon as I can get back into the studio. And I still have some arm twisting to do with the city to see if we can put together the film festival, talk to the Chamber of Commerce people and stuff like that. And then for lack of a good provocative hobby, I'll probably go back and start writing a few more shorts. Tell me what you want, Alex.
And Alex, what's happening with that script that's kind of Thelma and Louise type?
Not sure what you mean by film and release. I'm sorry.
No, Thelma and Louise script.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, Christine. That was the meeting I had today with the community up in New York, Jamin O'Brien. So that's we're in negotiations with that. We know some things that he's looked at that he wants some slight changes on. And then there was one conversation where we've kind of locked on. So as mentioned earlier, we all want to get to the same spot. So it's a case of, just seeing what's going to happen. I have a meeting at 10:30 with my writing wife on that. So we're going to look at some things that we're easily willing to relinquish to his needs. So that's what's going on. It's called Sundown is the name of the film. And we're actively looking for financing a producer, director from the African American community. So that's that. Cherie, you have till Friday, please, okay? So as far as my writing, Vivian and I have discussed a new project that I'm working on based on a true story that happened in the Ukraine in 1942 in occupied Germany. So I am starting to get to that script. I'm excited to finally work on my own product rather than developing everybody else's. As soon as I get the link, if I could send it out to everybody for my table read May the 12th, I'd love to have you in attendance. The Canadian group, they're such wonderful people. I can't say nothing more about them. Wonderful. In the link, Julian has put about the Carmen Online Theatre group that I've been helping out relaunch. And that is Julian's script, and that's a horror. So I know a lot of you are into that. So please attend that reading. It's free. So please invite all your friends, especially if you love that genre. We put a YouTube link in there. I did an interview. I think it's like 6 minutes long about how I broke into the industry. It's quite interesting stuff. Nick, last call this Friday. Send me your first 10. We'll have a meeting. If you're not sure what's going to go down, you can ask Pauline. I'm just going to remind you, Nick, I'm an educator. That's the perspective I take. Okay. So this is your last call, Nick.
Okay.
Too long.
I just prefer to meet. Yeah, I mean, I know your experience, so I don't want to. I'm a little bit, I still need to develop it, and I don't want spelling errors and the formatting issues.
I'm hoping I'm going to save you weeks of work by just having a read of 10 pages
Okay.
and a half an hour chat with you.
Okay. All right.
Okay? If you're
Okay.
not quite sure, you can ask Miss Pauline. She'll explain to you how I do things.
Okay.
For your benefit. I'm always about playing it forward. I told you that all the time. So, but last call, Nick. We've been going on about this for months now. So last call. Okay,
Okay, Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to go back or to start that next show. I'm going to keep working on that script that I was working on that I'm writing in the foreign language. And I also wanted to submit a pilot script that I've been working on for quite a while to Script Pipeline, which is having a contest. I think that opens on May 15th. So anyone that has like pilot scripts, Script Pipeline is doing a huge contest for those kinds of things and accepting a bunch of scripts. So keep that in mind.
Hey, Pauline.
Well, right now, I'm working on my final grades. I have to turn them in by May 11th, and then I'll be free for a while during the summer, though I will teach 1 6-week class online. But I mean, Doug, you're always giving young people advice about getting on sets. What about old folks like me?
Same thing. Get on set.
Okay, so I'm letting you all know that I'm available this summer if you need any help. You don't even have to pay me.
That's good.
Oh, and what I'm working on with my project is I'm reworking my synopsis and also I'm looking at treatments. I've never written a treatment before, so I'm doing the research on that and learning more about pitches and how to do them.
Okay. Vivian.
Yeah, the next 2 weeks, I'm hoping to receive feedbacks from some of the people I sent my treatment outline to, and then just revise, the material. And I also have been thinking of a new script, a comedy, a rom-com that I like to start developing because, it takes a long time to get the script ready in a sense that you write it and then you get feedbacks, wait for feedback from everything. So I like to work on another script.
Good. Ardell.
I'm doing 3 things. I'm plotting out this novel for not novel. I'm plotting out this pilot on a program called Plotter, and that's just the skeleton of the thing. And Hannah mentioned, no, who was it? So I think you were mentioning you were looking for an old map of Scotland. You might be interested in this one. It's 1630. And I got it from an outfit called Established Titles. It's an environmental a natural resources conservatory company in Scotland that will sell you a ladyship or a lordship by selling you either a square foot of Scotland or a square meter or whatever. The more you buy, the more money it costs. Anyway, so I am Lady Ardell Holden. Anyway, but one of the things that I purchased through them was this map of 1630 of Scotland, and it's it was probably $15-20, something like that. Anyway, it's if that's what you're interested in, and I'm also going to look into more about animation, because I have a feeling that this book of mine would make a good short for a children's book. It's Terence the Terrapin who wanted to be a seeing-eye turtle.
Sounds good. And you, Hannah, what will you be working on the next 2 weeks?
I'm continuing with my Joe Plant graphic novel, and I'll try to get around to fine tune the screenplay. And I'm going to start writing some notes down for another sci-fi idea that I have, work out the synopsis and the treatment of it. So that's what I'll be involved.
Great. And for my spec Hallmark mystery pilot, tomorrow I'm gonna reread the logline and synopsis and then print off the script and read it out loud before I make a PDF to send to the producer that's interested in it. And Pat and I will be exchanging more 10 pages in our horror script and a few other things that depending on time and availability to work on our script. So keep well, everybody, and keep working. You know, we want you to do pages and revisions so that we can have some successes here. And even Hannah says she's working on something for sci-fi that Alex has a contact in the sci-fi industry, so you never know. Okay, everybody, so we'll see you in 2 weeks, Monday, May the 17th. Bye for now.
Thank you,
Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian.